Welcome to Economics 252, Principles of Macroeconomics. I'm your instructor. My name is Theis-Pesko, and I am very excited to be teaching this class. Economics is definitely one of my favorite subjects, and I'm thrilled you guys are all in this course. There are two sections of economics this semester at Carteret, so when I'm flipping through the screens, you may see that change. I'm kind of treating you all as one class. The sections are the same, so don't go switching sections thinking one's better than the other. They're all the same, and I'll duplicate all correspondence between the two. So just take a few minutes to listen to this video. I'm not sure how long it'll take, probably about 10 minutes or so, and give yourself a good overview of this course so you feel confident going forward. The first thing I'd like to go over is the syllabus, which I have pulled up over here. Depending on your section, you may be section 100 or 101, I believe. And this is macroeconomics. You might know that there's micro, which is dealing with a smaller economic picture, or macro. Macroeconomics is going to deal a lot more with interest rates, currency exchange rates, international trade, a lot of stuff that affects our economy and our world economy as a whole. Now, if you've taken microeconomics, the first part of the course will be very familiar. About the first 5 chapters of macro and micro are the same. So some of your classmates may really find this easy because they've already been exposed to it in the beginning, like those first, I don't know, maybe like 4 modules or so. But they'll all catch up in the end, so don't get discouraged if you feel like people are catching on to things faster than you. It really is just a repeat in the beginning. Here is my information. My name, this is my cell phone. You are welcome to text me. If you do text me, please tell me who you are and which section you're in. I also teach at Pamlico Community College, so sometimes I need to know which class you're talking about. I also teach economics over there. I need to know what class you're talking about and which school you're at and which section you're in. And here is my email. Occasionally, if your response requires a lengthy email, like if you send me an email and I feel like it's just going to be a lot easier to type on a keyboard instead of an iPad, for example, you may get an email from me from my rpesko@pamlicocc.edu address, just because I'm able to get back to you faster that way. So keep that in mind when you're checking your email. Look for either or. Either one will have Pesko in it. I really try hard to email you back within 24 hours. So if you haven't heard from me, send me another email, and I promise I will not hold that against you. Learning outcomes, I'll let you look over all of this stuff. This is what I talked about, that we're learning about international trade, money, and banking. We're going to learn a little bit of housing crisis, how that all happened. Hopefully you'll be able to look at the news and see it through a different viewpoint. There are 2 textbooks required for this class. One is the normal type of textbook you'd expect, and the other one's a little bit smaller. You should be getting the 7th edition of Principles of Macroeconomics. Should be sold in the bookstore. And you'll also need to have access to MindTap. So if you're getting a used copy on Amazon or something like that, you'll just need to subscribe to MindTap, which is Cengage, all part of the textbook. You'll also need How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes. You can view a PDF file of the entire book by using this website, and it's free to download, so that's one option. Or you can go to an online retailer and get it for about $7 used, or you could buy it new for about $20. So you have 3 options. It's totally up to you how you get it. I also think you may be able to find it in the library, maybe through an interlibrary loan. I believe Pamlico has a copy of it, although I don't know if it came in yet. You might be able to loan it from that college with an interlibrary loan through the community college system. If you're having trouble accessing the book or finding the book, I need to know as soon as possible. You need to read the entire book. It's not a lengthy book, I promise, but you do need to read the entire book and answer all the questions before the deadline at the end of the semester. I do not want any excuses come April that you couldn't find the book. This is your time to get that book or access to it now. So go to this website this week, download it, save it to your computer. You have it, end of story. Course attendance policy. Carteret enforces this pretty strictly. This is an online course, so the way it's calculated is that If you miss any week, any assignment, because we have it post our assignments once a week, if you don't submit something on that week, you're counted absent for the entire week. If you even submit one tiny, tiny little piece that week, you're counted present for the entire week. If you exceed more than 3 absences on your 4th absence, you'll be cut from the class. And I don't really have a lot of flexibility with that, so please monitor your attendance closely. Not only will it negatively affect your grade and you'll struggle to pass if you missed more than 3 weeks of the course, but you will be dropped and it doesn't look good on your transcript. Late work and missing exams. I don't accept late work and I don't do retakes for exams. There are a few random exceptions to this, so if in doubt, go ahead and email me. It'd be better for me to say no than to just, take the 0. Sometimes people have internet connection issues, especially those of you who live down east. If you miss your connection, it might time you out of the exam, for example, and it might mark everything as a 0. If something like that happens, you need to email me or text me immediately at that time. Now I can go back into Moodle and see your activity and see how it happened, and maybe give you a shot to do the exam again. For help kind of accommodate for missed exams, because I know life gets in the way and late work, I do drop the lowest homework and the lowest quiz scores. The grading plan for the course is as follows. You have a homework assignment for each chapter, so that's about 22 chapters. That's a third of your grade. The tests are 20% of your grade. Final exam is 20%. Quizzes are 10%. Comprehension questions for that book that I told you about, that How Economy Grows and Why It Crashes, is 10%. Your current events, which are kind of your discussion forums, are 10%. And we are graded on a 10-point grading scale. Your tentative schedule is here. There's a prettier copy I'll show you later that I would like you to print. And all of this stuff is kind of standard through the rest of the classes, so I will skip it. Please read it yourself, though, so you can answer the syllabus quiz properly. In the top of the course here, I do have your schedule and important dates. I really do want you to print this. I'm not joking when I say please print this. Please print this. The way I have every module set up is that a module is intended to represent 1 week's worth of coursework. Sometimes you have more than one chapter. In Module 2, you have 2 chapters, for example, that are going to be covered during the week. The module will always be available on a Monday, and it will always end, with the exception of the first module, on a Wednesday. Students do well in this class if they start on a Monday and they aim to finish by a Friday or Saturday. The whole module done in 1 week. Those students are very successful and much more successful than a student who waits until the following Wednesday rolls around and posts it close to midnight. That's why there's no late work accepted, because I anticipate that you did this in 7 days, but I'm giving you 10 days just in case you had bad internet. The problem with the students who wait until the weekend to start it are now overlapping 2 modules at one time. Do you see how this one's available February 1st, but this one was due February 3rd? This student who didn't start this work until February 1st is now working through 2 modules at once. I'm assuming everybody's on Module 5, but this student is still hanging out in Module 4 and building himself pretty much far behind in the class. So please look at the module that is available to you on Monday, February 1st, for example, and try to work through it before the end of the week, by Friday. It'll help you stay on top of the class. There will be some modules here that give you a little bit of grief, and you might need to spend some more time on them. There'll be other ones that you kind of zip through. Here are some important deadlines for your calendar. The current events are going to be posted in the discussion forum. These are your comprehension questions, final exam, and we have 3 big tests, and they cover these modules, and they are due on these dates. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Okay, so yours will probably look a little bit different than this, but hopefully it looks similar. This is our first module, in the first module, I only gave you one chapter so you could get a chance to get used to Cengage and logging in and getting your textbook and all that other stuff. So it should be a pretty light week the first week. Whenever you see the resources in here, if they do not say the word optional, they're required. If they say the word optional, it's because I found that some students have benefited from them and enjoy them, so I'm giving you the resource, but maybe it's not the top resource. PowerPoint slides, but unless they're narrated, a lot of students don't get a lot of value out of them, and so I wanted to put them up there in case you do like that summary, but I don't require you to look through the PowerPoint. Please don't try to take your test just using the PowerPoint. When you take your quizzes, you should be using your textbook and all resources available to you. The PowerPoint won't get you through. Sometimes you may see a lot of things in your modules and it may be intimidating, like this. Keep in mind that these little lectures, most of them are only like 3 or 4 minutes. So it looks worse than it is, and I really don't want anyone to get intimidated by it. When we have more than one chapter in a module, there's more than one quiz. So you'll need to take both of them. But when you click on these, this video literally is 60 seconds. You may like to watch it a couple times. We get about 4 of these 60-second adventures throughout the semester, and they're kind of fun. Here is MindTap. Again, your version may look a little different. This is a publisher-supported resource for your homework. What you'll do is you'll complete the things that I've assigned for each week. Their weeks, as much as I tried to manipulate them, are slightly different than our module numbers. So pay attention to the due dates. For example, our first week is their second week, and I tried manipulating it and I just couldn't get it to work for me. Anything that has a G next to it means it counts as a grade. Anything else are things that'll help you. In the beginning, for example, you may not benefit from the problem walkthroughs because we're talking about the first chapter. But when we get down to chapter 17 or 18, I would highly recommend you look through the problem walkthroughs. You're probably going to get something out of it, and it's going to help you with your homework, and it's going to help you with your quiz performance. So anything that you see a bright orange G means that it's required. You'll complete it. You get multiple attempts. The homework is really to make sure you're confident with what you're doing moving on. I would do the homework before you take the quizzes. That way you've really learned the concepts. And if you're having trouble on the homework, that's when you need to make sure you email me, and I'll email you right back. I'll gladly record a lecture or whatever you need in order for you to understand the homework before you take the quiz. Just give me about 12 to 24 hours to do so. 24 hours would be better. If you're working on that Monday to Friday schedule, we'll have no trouble. After you post your grades and the module closes in this homework, I will manually enter your grades into Moodle. So your grade book in Moodle is only partially set up now at this time of Wednesday night, but hopefully by this weekend I'll have it fully set up, and that will be your master grade. Please check your Moodle grades about once a week, not only so you know where you're at, but you can catch any typos that I may have made in copying over your grades from Cengage. I think that is about it. Down the bottom, which won't be your bottom, you should see this kind of frequently. This is that book that I was talking about. Here is the comprehension questions. It's a Word document. You can print it out and handwrite in it. I would prefer it typed though. So just go ahead and type it into the Word. I don't expect long, extensive responses. Some of the questions might just be a single sentence. Most of the questions will be about a single sentence. I hope you enjoy the book. It's actually one of my personal favorites, and I think that it'll make economics kind of a fun subject for you. Here's the link to the free PDF, and then you'll submit your responses here. If you have a rainy weekend, start working on it. You don't need to wait until April. You can submit it at any time. I hope that helps answer your questions. If you have any at all, please just email me. I'll be very engaged with email in the next couple days because a lot of classes are getting started, and I want you to have a successful start of the semester. Don't hesitate to call me on my cell phone. You saw that in the contact information. Please don't call after about 8 p.m. I usually am asleep because I'm quite an early riser, and I will gladly return the favor by calling you at 5 a.m. So, but I'm definitely here. If texting works, go ahead and text, email, any of that. But I'm here for you to be successful in economics. It's one of my very favorite subjects, and I hope that you enjoy it as well. Have a nice night or day. Thanks.